YouTube, what's the deal? Lovely day here in Michigan. The weather is starting to break for us up here because a couple weeks ago we had snow on the ground after we just had some good weather. So, well, as you can see, front clip had to be taken off the car in order to use the engine hoist properly. I'm going to show you in a minute what actually was happening. I'm going to tell you what's going on with that and a couple other parts in a minute. Now, the reason I had to take the whole front clip off, which I thought when I first did it, I was like, oh man, this is going to be a headache. But once you really get the screws off that you need to, this whole front clip comes off and to me should be able to go back on with ease. So I'm just going to show you a couple tips and let a couple guys know the experience that I went through. So as you can see, we have the AC Delco engine leveler. Now, everything went fine with the leveler. The problem was the bumper was out almost a foot away from the engine. And what was happening is the engine wanted to pull, trying to get this forward. It wanted to pull forward. And the reason you do not want it to just pull forward is because, get up in the car. As you can see right there, the oil pan and the K member will interfere. So if this engine is pulling forward first because my engine hoist was back farther than it should, what it was doing was just pulling the whole thing instead of lifting first. You needed to lift and then pull forward in order to miss the oil pan. I mean, for the oil pan and the K member to not interfere with each other. Also, I had an issue. I got all the catalytic converters out of here in one piece and didn't have to cut them. But if you can see right down there, right by the steering shaft, shout out to GP who just had his baby. Lovely. But if you can see right there, that's where the O2 sensor that would not come out. I mean, I used the tool, it would not come out. So I had called my boy GP. He said, yeah, go ahead, use a hacksaw and then beat the O2 sensor. And as you can see, I had plenty of room to clear the drive shaft. The steering shaft. Sorry about that. The steering shaft right there. So that was another issue. So, and she should be ready to come out probably tomorrow. Today is Monday, the 10th, I believe. So tomorrow I'll probably get up early before work and come over here and try to pull this thing out. And these are a couple of the other parts that came out with it, which this, and then it's is the bumper, which I'm going to absolutely buy another bumper because this bumper is trash. It's probably been in the police probably was in a front end collision and bent up the bumper. So they tried to fix it. So I'm going to simply buy a whole nother primer bumper and get it painted one day. Also, let's talk about the trans cooler. So why have this thing out? Let me show you something. I'm going to have to, hold up one, so let me get the focus right. All right, while I have it out, as you can see, that is a True Cool transmission cooler. And it is not set up to run in the wintertime. If you run it in the wintertime, I think the piece is probably $14. And what it is like a bypass valve. And you put it on the hoses ends. And what it will do is restrict transmission flow until the transmission comes up to temperature. And that's mainly for the wintertime. So I did not get that. If you ever look up the True Cool Max, the True Cool Max, yes, it does not have a fan. This one does not need a fan. You know, maybe on the black one I might find a setup where I get the transmission cooler with the draw through fan. So it, you know, that this does not need that. You know, this will be fine. This will be absolutely fine with this particular setup. And I'm telling you, I'm running for 350 horsepower plus on this situation, so it will do absolutely great. So what I'm gonna have to do is figure out, number one, do I still want AC in this vehicle? Last year I was thinking I definitely needed it because I used the AC a lot, even though it was leaking. There is a leak somewhere in the AC system here, because for the first week it was nice and cold, and then the second week it became less cold. So it's a leak in the system somewhere. So it's either I figure it out or I can simply eliminate it for now, come back to it. You know, the MMR sells an AC delete pulley, and that's all you need. So I can pull everything off, come back to it, and put it on there. The pulley is maybe $40. So I'm gonna either have to because you have the radiator, the condenser. This is the condenser part right here, and this is, if you can kind of see as it changes, this at the bottom is the trans cooler. And see if I can find those hoses. If you got, these are the trans lines, and as you can see, it comes straight to the bottom. So these are the trans cooler lines, because this line goes straight into these bottom. So I mean, it's a decent trans cooler, but like I said, you see the difference compared to the other one. The other one has a lot more surface area and should do almost twice as better as this one. Like I say, the stock one is not bad, but when you're doing what I'm trying to do, you're gonna have to step up to a little bit bigger transmission cooler. So, and I want to state, this is the power steering cooler right here. So I'm gonna have to either, it's gonna be tricky, folks, because I have another one. I'm going to see if it's possible. But I don't think, I'm not going to think of that idea, because I was going to say I would cut out the bottom. I was going to say I would cut out the bottom and cut this out, so I leave the condenser at the top, but it's going to be tricky. So I'm going to come up with an idea in order to hook this up. And let me show you also the hardware they come with, because the hood, it has been disattached, so that's why I got the cardboard, not the spray pit. So I did get 2 transmission lines, nice and beefy lines, definitely thick, will hold a lot of pressure. And then they send you a bag of goodies, and this is what I'm gonna probably have to end up modifying some kind of way. They send you these and send you the transmission connect lines, some bolts to hook it up, And then these right here, I'm probably going to have to figure out a way to either, you know, put a bracket on here, drill it to make sure that it stays in here properly. I want to get it close to the fans, so I might, like I said, I might have to sacrifice the AC. I don't know. I might have to figure it out. Whether I can move I don't really want to move the radiator bracket forward. That just goes into a whole different territory. So I might have to figure out something, folks. So probably tomorrow, I'm gonna get out here before work and try to lift this thing up out of here so I can separate it and test out the headers and see where it's going to have to be modified. This is just a quick update, nothing too interesting, and a lot of babbling and letting you know. As you can see, I did have to do some work to get that front end clip off, it is absolutely off, and she should be ready to come out. I'm pretty much comfortable and guaranteeing that she's ready to come out. And with the weather breaking, I can get after work, my little light, and get out here and get at it. So you too, stick with me. I appreciate it. One of the baddest Vicks that's going to hit the street is going to be coming, y'all. So stay tuned. Appreciate it. Tell a friend, you know what to do. Have a good day, y'all.